Thanks for listening to the Relationship and Wellness Podcast with Nicola Beer. If you are interested in finding out more about becoming a holistic life therapist, would like to get Nicola's mentorship directly, or check out the award-winning audio programs, visit www.nicolabeer.com today. Subject to availability, a waitlist may apply.
Hi and welcome, so happy you're here. I'm going to be talking today about serial lying and cheating. I often get asked, Nicola, why do I cheat when I really love my partner? I don't understand it. How can I show them that it's not about them? And that's what we're going to be addressing today. The phrase, once a cheater, always a cheater, is often used to describe people who have cheated on their partner, even if it's a single incident. And the general idea is that people who do cheat do not care for their partner, do not love their partner. However, how much truth is behind this? Does a person who has cheated on their partner have no hope of being trustworthy again? If a person consistently cheats or lies to their partner, does that mean that they don't care for their relationship, their partner's feelings, or are not attracted to them anymore? In my experience, working with thousands of people now to break the habit of serial lying, serial cheating and deceit, it has nothing to do with the person they love in many, many cases. More to do with the personality traits and individual issues from the past, which I help root out in my breakthrough program. This is a program for one person only. It's a deep dive to clear out all of the roots that lead to such behaviour. Being in a relationship with someone who has cheated or lies can be demoralising. It can impact a person's self-confidence, self-esteem, and make them doubt their self-worth. It can also be very easy to want to give up because naturally we're made to believe if someone treats us poorly, then they do not care about us, they don't love us enough, they don't respect us to be doing that. However, for serial cheaters, it isn't a simple case of not loving or caring for their partner. There are so many other contributing factors that need to be considered in order to understand why a person takes actions that may hurt others. And this is what I'm going to be sharing some light on today, as well as also talking about serial lying. Because of course there can be other kinds of cheating. Financial cheating, where you go into debt, take out credit cards and hide that. Lying about smoking, drinking, taking drugs, things like that as well. According to the LA Intelligence Detective Agency, stats show that 56% of men and 34% of women who commit infidelity rate their marriage as happy or very unhappy, which makes this topic even more important to share with you today, as it is often assumed only unhappy people would cheat. However, from my many years of working with couples and individuals from all over the world, I know that this statistic is actually true. People can be very happy in a relationship and still cheat. So one of the most popular reasons that people book the 3-day intensive breakthrough program, and I'll put a link along with the show notes, it's also available at my website, nicolabeer.com, and you can also email me, nb@nicolabeer.com, if you're interested. So the reason that most people book is because they realise, okay, I want to stop this behaviour and I can't change the habit on my own. And often it's because they're thinking about it so much that it's just creating the same pattern. And of course their wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend also wants them to get to the root of it so they can feel safe and secure in the relationship, knowing that it's been addressed properly and effectively. So in this episode I'm going to be sharing with you some of the key core reasons why people end up lying or cheating and develop that lying or cheating habit. What confuses both in the couple is why a person may continue to do it, even after being caught once, the first time, and seeing how their partner is suffering. How could they do it again? More deceit, more lying, more cheating. It's always to do with the person that's cheating or lying in so many of the cases that I've done. Today, I will share the top 6 most common reasons. First is people pleasing. People who always want to please others at the cost of their own happiness do so because they're seeking external validation. They feel good when others are praising them or validating their existence. This often happens when they didn't get the love or kindness they needed as a child, and so as they grew up, they recognized how their behavior could get them approval and praise, which in turn makes them feel good, and they need approval from others. Or they could have had the love and kindness from their parents and from their elders, only when they acted exactly how they were expected to act. So they kind of hid themselves, hid their personality to please, and it got them rewards. And for some children, it can even be a survival mechanism. Unless I do and be exactly what my parents want me to be, I'll be punished, I'll be hurt, so I must perform, I must be perfect, I must be quiet, I must hide myself to be safe, I must do whatever my parents want to please them, so I'm not going to get into trouble. Aaron was deeply in love with his wife of 10 years. However, he struggled to resist temptation when other women flirted with him. He loved the feeling he got when someone wanted him. It made him feel worthy, attractive, and gave a boost to his ego. So he let the attention continue, which ended up in sexting one another. Through the breakthrough session, we were able to identify that he always tried to please his parents, to get his dad's approval, but he never got it. And his relationship with his dad has always been strained. His dad always still, to this day, puts him down, and yet he still is trying to please and get his dad's approval on his business success, on his life success. He learned at an early age that pleasing others means you will get their attention. And if you please them, they'll think good of you, and then that's what makes you feel good. Your happiness comes from others. He spent many of his adult years, until we did this process, getting people to like him, even if it meant lying and hurting those he loved. When we increased his own self-worth, gave him the confidence and the tools to set healthy boundaries, and to realise that he didn't need approval to be happy, from his dad or anyone, things shifted massively for him and for his wife and all areas of their life. Dan, another person that I supported, when drunk, had a habit of signing up to dating apps. He was drawn to people that needed help. They were poor or had a bad experience with men. He wanted to make them feel good, to please them, even for a moment, as he never met any of the women. It was just online flirting and messaging. For those brief moments when he got compliments back, praise and interest, he became addicted to it. And whenever him and his girlfriend had a fight, or she was not in the mood for sex, he felt rejected, he would boost his self-esteem and go and please these women by complimenting them and flirting with them. Despite really loving his girlfriend, he had this drunken habit which we got to the root to clear, because when he was drinking, his insecurities were coming up. Number 2 is fear of confrontation. Addressing issues with loved ones isn't easy for everyone, and for some, they have a deep fear of confrontation. They hate arguing. They hate to say something that they will regret later. They don't want to hurt their partner. They fear their partner's reaction. They fear they're going to be shouted at. So they lie because they think that this is keeping the peace. They avoid and use lies to avoid conflict. For example, Naomi I worked with lied a lot to everyone. She lied to her husband about the debt she was in or how much she had drunk. She lied to her mother to get her to babysit so she could go out drinking, and then lie about what happened in the night for an excuse to stay out much later than she planned. She would organise a family lunch and then not feel like doing it and just pretend she forgot all about it and not answer her phone that day, and then make up a lie weeks later that she was really ill or something else tragic happened to her. She was just lying to everyone. It would become a habit because she didn't have the confidence to just tell people, I don't feel like it, I'm tired, I want a drink. She had a fear of hearing harsh words, disappointing others, others being angry at her, so she just used to block it out and avoid people. If she didn't say what she was going to do, she just then wouldn't speak to that person for a few weeks. In her head, she would say to herself, I just can't handle it. I just can't handle confrontation. I just can't handle addressing this. So she would just avoid people so she didn't have to have any confrontation. Or she would just wake up the next day and pretend that whatever happened the day before didn't happen. She would never talk through things. She found it so normal to lie about her alcohol because in her previous relationship, her boyfriend was always getting so mad at her for drinking too much, in his opinion. If he came home and she had had a drink, he'd be so angry and aggressive. So she just felt always that she needed to lie to everybody about how much she was drinking. This can come from childhood again, or from adulthood if a person is shut down when they're trying to share their thoughts and feelings. If they've been in an abusive relationship where they had to lie and walk on tiptoes to avoid aggression from their partner or verbal abuse. So lying can be a way to protect yourself, and then it can become a habit. Whether that habit is formed in childhood or in other relationships where you learn in order to stay safe, just lie. This was similar for a lady called Christina that I helped. She was previously in a long-term relationship with a guy who never let her express herself. He was very controlling, and whenever Christina tried to share her feelings, he would make it all about him. He would turn the argument or turn her point round back and make her feel like she was the wrong one, that it was her fault. Everything she shared with him, he would go mad. How could you say this? How could you think this of me? How could you do this to me? And she would end up feeling, God, I'm really horrible, I'm really bad. And she believed it for so many years. And then lying became a habit she adopted. And now, thankfully, she's in a really loving relationship. She's about to get married, and I'm doing pre-marriage coaching with them both to rebuild the trust, the connection, and make sure that they have a happy, solid foundation. So the third reason is where people don't know how to say no. People who consistently lie or cheat may struggle to say no to others, and so they find themselves in compromising situations. It's a known fact that we want to feel connected or like we belong somewhere. However, saying no to someone may make a person feel that they're unkind, they're putting the relationship at risk, they fear that, I'm rejecting someone, I'm being rude, so they just say yes when they should be saying no or setting healthy boundaries. We do live in a yes culture. It's more favourable to say yes to things than face something and say, no, I'm not going to give you my number, no, I'm not going to go out for lunch with you, no, I can't make that. People end up not wanting others to feel bad, so they just say yes, yeah, really good, and they don't have that strength to say no. This is something that Samuel experienced both professionally and in his personal life. He was agreeing to things that he knew would put him in a compromising situation with his wife. However, he didn't have the heart to say no to the women who were asking him for help. He unconsciously gravitated towards women who needed help too. They were financially poor or going through difficult times. These women became emotionally connected to him. They would go to lunch, share their marriage, divorce or financial issues with them, and he would make them feel better, buy them lunch, reassure them. It made him feel good because he was making them happy. He felt like he had a purpose, and it gave his ego a boost. He knew that his wife wouldn't approve, so he hid it until one day she saw the messages from Laura saying thanks for a lovely lunch and going into detail about how horrible her husband had been and how she couldn't wait to be single and out of the house again. She also saw her husband's responses, which shocked her, saying how much he loved the lunch and the pleasure was his, and to reach out any time if she needed anything at all. His wife asked him, "Who is Laura?" He pretended he didn't know. Then when his wife said, "I've seen all the messages," he was quick to say, "Oh, she's just a work colleague, she's a bit crazy." And then he lied to her how long he knew Laura, said he barely knew her and they'd just been out to lunch once. A few weeks later, his wife called Laura and found out the truth, and she was furious that he had lied to her face so well. He then confessed that they had had lunch a few times, that he's not interested in her, it just makes him feel good. And he came to me because he wanted to break the cycle, seeing how broken his wife was, seeing how upset Laura was, that she had caused this potential rift, realising that his actions and lack of transparency had hurt those that he cared about. So in the breakthrough program,